Episode of Walking Digital Corridors, where we aim to bring practical tips and tricks to sales and marketing folks, also customer success, to help them generate conversations with their target audience, something quite difficult for many these days in 2023. And today I'm joined by my two sons.
Hello guys, I'm Jordan Abbott. We are of course live today from Anticon at the magazine London. Really exciting day. I work at Vidyard currently. I am hosting a session, so if you are in the London area, you want to stop by, then please do feel free.
Yeah. If you're listening and you're in Anticon London, join us. Not in person, but live on LinkedIn. Jensen, do you want to say a few words to introduce yourself? Welcome to the first Walking Digital.
Thank you so much. Hi all, Jensen Abbott, currently a BDR at content.ai. And yeah, I'll keep it short and sweet.
Lovely. So they're the intros. So the topic today is in-person networking. What I'd like to do is hand the floor to you, Jensen, because you have a practical experience that when you did your first in-person networking. I remember you telling me that story. But do you want to share that with our audience?
Yeah. Funnily enough, it was actually an Anticon event, which fixed perfectly for today. But yeah, it was. I was very, very kind of early on in my career, very new to sales. And long story short, I found someone that I wanted to kind of speak to, a prospect that I wanted to kind of reach out to in person and have a conversation. But me kind of never doing it before and being kind of new into the water, it was very daunting, very kind of anxious. I was nervous. So I had to build up.
How long had you been in sales at that point?
Cool. I must have been in sales less than a year. It must have only been about 6 months, I reckon.
Yeah.
6 months. I was in sales at that point. And it come to the point that I was actually really struggling to try and kind of build up the courage to go over and speak to them. And it actually ended up that I had to down a glass of wine to try and build up the courage to actually go over and speak to this individual.
I should probably add it wasn't 8:30 in the morning. It was the evening networking. Yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, look, we're kind of feeling nervous, feeling a little bit scared. I guess I was looking to kind of look up to someone at the event that could kind of show me the way of networking, kind of guide me in this direction. And it kind of hit me that actually everyone in the room is in the same position as you. Everyone's a little bit nervous. Everyone's a little bit scared to go over and speak to people. And I think the main reason for that is we try and drive the conversation a specific way, or we would like the conversation to go in our favor. Now, when you put that much pressure on yourself, you actually cause yourself more damage. It's actually better taking your foot off the gas, understanding that actually this is a person. I need to actually kind of relate to them. I need to let me speak to them about a topic outside of work, and then we can kind of bring it into work. So really build that kind of that relationship with the individual. And yeah, I mean,
and this, just to provide some context, you're talking about being at a networking event, and you've identified someone that you want to have a conversation with, and so it's sort of, you're talking about it from that perspective, right?
Yeah, exactly that. But what I then soon realized is actually in person and online networking all link together. So if you imagine kind of like a DNA strand, you've got all these strands coming off. That is how kind of I see my personal brand. And with me networking, I want to be able to create as many links as possible to build relationships so that I have these relationships in my back pocket. I'm able to then have conversations with them, commercial conversations with them. And that's when I soon realized, actually, why don't I kind of step up to the plate myself? Why don't I put myself out there, step out of my comfort zone and start to learn how I can kind of make the experience more enjoyable for myself, but also for the person that I'm speaking to. And there's many ways around that. One thing that I do recommend is preparing kind of some statistics or facts before having a conversation with someone, so that you're seen as credible, you're seen as a trusted advisor.
Yeah.
Right.
And give you the confidence to take the conversation in that direction if you want to.
Exactly that. And people actually respect you for being seen as that trusted advisor and coming to them with those statistics. You're being seen as being prepared. Another couple of things that
you can let Sushi in.
Yeah, another couple of things that I'd done was just practicing some opening lines. It was actually how can I, as I'm joined by this tale here, how can I actually start the conversation? How can I kind of open the conversation where it doesn't feel awkward for myself or the recipient? And that was just talking to myself in the mirror. It was having a little conversation with myself, seeing what worked, what felt comfortable for myself. Because the last thing or another thing that I struggled with was stuttering and saying quite a lot in kind of in-person networking. And that's only because my brain's trying to think of what I can say next. Where if actually I can kind of build in some good vocabulary and statistics, they're able to just roll off my tongue. The conversation flows a lot better. But I would say the main point or the main takeaway is to just relax. Don't expect the conversation to go anywhere. Have a conversation with that individual. Be curious. I think that is the biggest.
How did you know it was working, right? So you had this moment where you needed to glass it down of wine to build up some Dutch cover conversation. But I know now you've been to several different events. So how did you know it started to work? Was it creating commercial conversations? Was it pipeline? Was it relationship feedback?
I would say all of the above, and especially feedback. Look, I try and always have a smile on my face. I try to always kind of be happy and approachable, and it's been seen through everything that you mentioned. Feedback. I've had prospects post on LinkedIn kind of saying, "Hey, look, had an amazing conversation with Jensen at Content.ai at this booth." And it's that sort of feedback where you're able to actually put a smile on someone's day, but also be remembered.
Yeah.
That as well is a very important point. If you can be remembered from a prospect at an event where there is hundreds of people, I think that's kind of another tell sign that you're in the right direction. Obviously, no one's perfect at networking, and we can always improve. But at least there we can see actually we're going in the right direction. But pipeline as well, a lot more conversations. And another thing at events is people are attracted to busy booths. That's one thing that I've realized. If your booth is busy, people will tend to kind of sway towards your booth, and that's
hire a lot of stand-ins.
yeah, exactly that. No, but look, I was at an event 2 weeks ago, and the booth was very busy, and I believe there was 5 people around, and I actually opened up the conversation to all 5. I thought, what? Let's take advantage of this. Let's kind of have almost like a round table at the booth and find other people's pain problems and the hurdles. And actually, this worked really well because then the prospects were actually talking with each other. So, oh yeah, I experienced that pain point, and it was then I was able to kind of bring everyone along on that story.
And they got value from it, I'm sure, because they were able to network with their peers. But let's switch gears for a little bit, because I'm conscious of time. This is a 15-minute sort of digest for people before they start their day. I know Jordan's experienced several networking engagements with you.
Yeah.
Now you've kind of gone your separate ways, working at different companies, but it's great that we can come and talk about this stuff, because what we're talking about, I really do think others do struggle with. So hopefully it's a value. And if anyone is listening, please throw a comment or a question to us, we'd love to address it. But I know Jordan is perhaps maybe a year more experience than you. Lovely bit of competition between you both. But
Yeah.
Jordan's doing his first speaking engagement at Anticon today at 11, as he mentioned. But what are some of your experiences with networking, and any tips that you might have for our listeners?
Yeah, I think just to echo what Jensen was saying, removing any Asian. I used to find that, I'd set myself a certain target, and targets are great to have there as a goal, but it's not the be all and end all. So what I found, we'd reach lunchtime and I'd be, pacing behind my target, and then I'd be like, okay, how can I ensure that I get my target? And I just ended up going into pitch mode and just throwing, just brain fart at people. And people just switch off to it. So
they sense it, don't they?
They really do.
Yeah.
So removing all that expectation, as you mentioned, Jensen, and then just have some questions to fall back on, have some stats to fall back on, but then as well, just listening to listen rather than listening to respond.
Yeah, that's a big one.
And as you mentioned, that stuttering, I found that I stutter when I'm just listening to respond, when I'm find something to say to respond. Whereas if I just, again, take that pressure off, just really engage with the person, then it just feels so much more natural. So they're my two main tips: alleviate that pressure off yourself, remove expectation, and just engage, be present. It's easier said than done, of course. If you do find yourself sort of falling into or disengaging, one of the things that Monique Wintelkamp actually told me was, repeat what they're saying in your head, and it just zones you to the conversation, and found that was helpful as well.
I think that's such an important point, is relaxing into the conversation and doing that active listening as you're talking about. So you're truly listening to try and understand rather than thinking about what you're going to say next. Because when you do that, from my experience, all you're doing really is pushing the person further away from you, because they don't feel like you truly understand them. And that sort of directional questioning, I think, and empathy with it is so important to have as a salesperson. Because, if you can identify the problem that they have, and maybe it's too early to identify a problem at this stage, right? It'd be great if you could. But at this point, it's about building that relationship.
And I think that's the all too common mistake, is having the end goal in mind, like thinking, okay, well, I want to book a demo with this person. Right. All your main goal is just have a conversation. As you said, gents, if you can be remembered, then that's great. That's half the battle. You've built a bit of rapport. And then at a point where, you do then reach out and say, I don't suppose, you're experiencing this challenge as a lot of other people I speak to and are feeling, they're going to be a lot more receptive to at least have a conversation and go from there. So
with a minute or so to go, is there anything that you would add, Jensen? A little 30-second snippet?
Yeah, I would actually, and it was kind of based around what both of you were saying, and it's remembering we've got two of these and one of these, and I think as salespeople, we like to use it, or not categorizing everyone, but a lot of people like to use it in the reverse order. They like to talk a lot and then listen a small amount, right? And actually, I think if we understand that, if we just take a step back, if we listen as people, we will get to our goal a lot quicker, because people will share their pain points and their problems. And it's being able to identify that, sitting down, like Jordan said, relax, take the pressure off, listen, be empathetic, understanding. And now if you're able to position that way, and when you're not trying to push it on someone, then they're more likely to come to you and say, hey, do you know what? I see that you can actually fix our problem or pain point. Why not explore?
For when the time's right.
Exactly that.
We're gonna have to cut it there, because I do want to make sure we keep these digestible 15-minute bite-sized chunks for people. So Thank you, Jensen and Jordan.
All right, thanks for having us.
Great. I hope we can do many more of these together. Thank you to our audience. This was our third live edition of Walking Digital Corridors, where we aim to bring practical tips and tricks to sales, customer success, and marketing folks. We've just launched a new website called walkingdigitalcorridors.com. So please check that out. We're going to have all of our podcasts saved there. We're also streaming in some of the other stuff that we do together. So we'd love to see you there, and enjoy the rest of your Tuesday, folks. Thursday.
And also good luck to Jordan. Smash.
Thank you very much
today.
Cheers.
Cheers, Jensen.
Have a great day.
Thanks, guys.
Bye all.